Hi, I'm Shaul. Myself and my contemporaries learned photography on film. In fact, I shot film about 15 years before I bought my first digital camera, which was a tiny little thing with about 2 megapixels. And by then I never looked back. Digital is so much more convenient, more immediate. And film is a hassle. It's always been. You have to shoot and then wait at least a couple of days before you see the results. There is no direct gratification. When shooting digital, you can do a lot more post exposure. Shooting on film, at least for us, the plebeians, necessitated completing the composition at the time of exposure. We didn't have access to a darkroom or to an enlarger where you could take the negative and project it onto a chemical paper and choose the precise size and angle you wanted in the final print. We developed our film by handing them over to a lab where they used machines to develop and print the photos. The whole creative process was pretty much over by the time we pressed the shutter release. And that made us learn how to expose, how to compose on the spot. For us, editing until today refers to the work of selecting your best images and keeping the ones you like, culling all the others. It has nothing to do with image manipulation like editing means today to a lot of photographers. The result we got was dependent on our composition, on the timing of the exposure, which is true even today in the digital age. However, what the photo looked like in the sense of contrast, of colors, was all dependent on the film stock we used and of course on the lenses we used, which, if I might add, were quite disgraceful things. Back when I started, zoom lenses, which as young people we preferred to those limited primes, were nothing to write home about. They were very soft, inferior compared to what we use today. Even today's kit lenses are better than some of the zooms we used back then. These days, the options to manipulate an image are vastly greater. You can do whatever you like, starting from cropping and finalizing your composition after exposure. I would like to dedicate this video to the practice of cropping. To me, cropping seems like an alien concept because I wasn't educated like that. I was educated to compose properly to use the right lens, focal length for the occasion, for the photograph or the exposure I wanted to create. It is really a term that is not in my lexicon. There are two main reasons you would like to crop. One is in cases where your focal length is too short to fill the frame with your subject, or at least make your subject large enough in the frame. And the second purpose of cropping is correcting composition. We don't always level the camera properly with the horizon. Sometimes we get wonky vertical or horizontal lines, and we need to rotate the photo for the composition to look right. Sometimes we do not have time to plan our composition properly. So we become sloppy. We just capture a general composition with our camera, and then afterwards we correct the composition, throw away disrupting objects, or tighten the framing around the important elements of in the scene. Many years ago I received a guide, a book that is a guide to digital photography, and the authors recommended leaving a cropping space around your ideal composition so you can manipulate it afterwards. I would like to make the argument that cropping should be your last resort rather than a modus operandi. There are a few reasons for that. First of all, it's a bad practice. You really need to be able to compose your images during exposure. It makes you a good photographer. If you manage to frame your images properly and understand the focal length of your lens, uncropped photographs contain more context, which is an important, authentic aspect of your photography, because the final result will reflect in a more comprehensive way what you saw and what you felt during exposure. So the result will be more convincing, I think. Second, there is the technical side. I'm not worried about throwing away pixels. We have more than enough of them in our cameras anyway. I am more aware of throwing image area away, or sensor area if you like, because there is a strong relation between the technical quality of a photograph or a print, shall we say, and the enlargement ratio, or the ratio between the area of the final displayed image and the image captured by the light-sensitive medium in our camera. This is why medium format in film looks so much better in a print than 35mm or even smaller frame sizes. And it's true for digital sensors too. Optical aberration, it's not only chromatic aberration, it's also spherical aberration, becomes more prominent when you increase the enlargement ratio. Color fringing with a width of 8 to 10 microns will give your image some pop, some depth. And it will not be visible really in the final print when you view the image from a comfortable distance, which is about twice its width, regardless of the resolution of the sensor. However, when you crop and later print or display your image at the same dimensions, the width of the fringing will become larger proportionally, and it might become visible. So when you crop, you need to use more corrected, more, shall we say, clinical optics that tend to reduce the perception of depth. And then there is the argument of squeezing the lemon. We pay a lot of money for image area or for larger sensors and for lenses that project an image circle that covers the whole area of that sensor in our camera. So why not use it fully? It becomes apparent when shooting with older character lenses that have some issues, mainly around the edges. Those lenses have their own aesthetics, and when you crop them, they lose some of their character or magic, if you like. So to me, it makes good sense to use the whole field of the sensor or film frame. Sometimes that character of the lens really helps you tell a story. For example, the Helios 44 that I use to shoot this image creates a sort of tunnel made of leaves in the center of the frame. This tunnel gives you a feeling of the depth of that scene and even helps convey the sunlight, the temperature, the clarity of the air in a warm spring day. Now, if you crop this image, you lose a lot of it. Of course, the viewer will be more aware of that nice rose that is the subject of this photo, but it is not the same. If you find yourself often in a situation where your focal length is too short to isolate your subject, I think you might as well invest in a longer lens rather than a higher resolution camera that will let you crop without losing too much detail. It's akin to eating soup with a fork. Why would you do that? Those shorter lenses are not meant to be used for telephoto applications. Lastly, editing images to me seems like a waste of time. If I didn't need to do that because of white balance corrections that I often find myself compelled to do, I would just use the JPEGs given me by the camera. In the days of film, we did not have a choice. We had to use the output of the camera that was highly dependent on the chemistry of the film stock. But even now, I can hardly remember a photograph I took that I was able to save by editing. Bad, unsatisfactory photograph will remain bad even after you crop it or manipulate it in any other way. It's a matter of being able to convey your intention during the exposure. I know it's quite a contentious subject, and I'm sure you have a lot of reservations or corrections to what I said. So please let me know your opinion in the comments. Right, that was all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and see you again soon.